The candles flickered on Riley's 13th birthday cake when the first shadow moved past the kitchen window. Caleb Monroe caught it in his peripheral vision, a figure too tall, too deliberate for a neighborhood kid cutting through yards. His hand instinctively moved toward his waistband, where his service tool used to rest during those long months in Fallujah, fingers finding only empty belt loops. "Dad, make a wish with me," Riley whispered, her dark eyes reflecting the candle flames like bottomless pools. But something in her voice made him pause, a tremor that no 13-year-old should carry. Fear. Raw, bone-deep terror masked behind forced birthday cheer and the desperate smile of a child trying to protect her father. The living room erupted in fake laughter as Julia Monroe clinked glasses with Tyson Reese, the man she had introduced as a family friend from work. Caleb studied Tyson's movements with sniper precision, the way he scanned exit routes, how his jacket hung heavy on one side where metal created unnatural drape, the practiced ease with which he positioned himself near windows while maintaining clear sightlines. This was no dental office friend. Tyson's eyes met Caleb's across the crowded room, and for a moment the mask slipped. Cold calculation flickered behind his smile, the look of a man measuring coffin dimensions. Then he raised his glass in mock toast, lips curling with barely concealed contempt. "Dad!" Riley grabbed his forearm, fingernails digging crescents into skin. "Don't go outside tonight. Promise me. Please." Her grip was desperate, the clutch of someone drowning. Before Caleb could respond, the world collapsed. Glass exploded across hardwood floor like deadly rain as Caleb tackled Riley behind the kitchen island. 3 rapid shots punched through the front door. Boom, boom, boom. The distinctive crack of 9mm rounds. Professional, controlled. This was no random drive-by shooting. Wood splinters showered down like wooden snow as he shielded his daughter with his body, feeling her heart hammering against his chest like a caged bird. "Stay down. Do not move." His Middle East training kicked in automatically, muscle memory overriding 20 years of civilian softness. Riley's birthday guests screamed in primal terror, scrambling for the back door like panicked livestock. Mrs. Patterson from next door tripped over an overturned chair, her ankle twisting with an audible snap. Little Tommy from down the street crawled under the dining table, sobbing for his mother. But Julia and Tyson had vanished like smoke, disappeared with the practiced efficiency of people who had planned this chaos down to the second. The shooting stopped as suddenly as it began. Caleb counted heartbeats. 1, 2, 3. In Fallujah, silence after that usually meant either ending or tactical repositioning. He chose to assume the latter. Caleb Army crawled to the window, risking a glance through spider-webbed glass. 2 figures in dark clothing sprinted toward a waiting sedan parked beneath the broken streetlight, conveniently positioned to minimize witness visibility. The shooters moved with military precision, magnums lowered but ready, covering each other's retreat with textbook fire and movement tactics. License plates smeared with mud in a deliberate pattern, but his trained eye caught the partial. MO4G7. The sedan's engine roared to life. Deep V8 rumble suggesting serious horsepower for serious people who needed to disappear quickly. Dark blue or black Crown Victoria, tinted windows, aftermarket exhaust, possibly stolen given the obscured plates. The vehicle disappeared into the night, leaving only the acrid smell of gunpowder and the metallic taste of terror in the air. 911, what is your emergency? Shots fired, multiple rounds, 1847 Maple Creek Drive. Officer down, requesting immediate backup and paramedics. He lied about being law enforcement. It would bring faster response, more units, better urgency. In life-or-death situations, bureaucratic honesty was a luxury he couldn't afford. "Sir, can you confirm your location? Are you law enforcement?" "Negative, on law enforcement status." Civilian reporting active shooter situation. Multiple victims possible. Suspects fled in dark sedan northbound on Maple Creek. A thin red line trickled down his shoulder where a bullet fragment had grazed him, but the wound was superficial, a scratch, compared to what he'd survived in the Middle East. "Sir, are you injured? Do you need medical attention?" "Minor injuries, but we have a child on scene who may be in shock. Primary concern is securing the area and apprehending suspects before they can regroup for a second attack." Riley whimpered beneath him, her small body trembling with adrenaline and terror. "I am sorry, Dad. I am so sorry." "For what, sweetheart?" He kept his voice calm, controlled, the tone he'd used to reassure wounded soldiers during firefights in Baghdad. "She made me promise not to tell, but I should have warned you. Should have been braver." The weight of her words hit him like a sledgehammer to the chest. His own daughter had known this was coming. had been carrying this burden, this terrible secret, while he remained blissfully unaware of the trap being constructed around him. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer with each passing second. Caleb pulled Riley tighter, his mind already racing through tactical assessments and legal implications. Julia's frantic text 20 minutes earlier suddenly made perfect sense. Left Riley's special gift on the front porch. She'll love it. The gift that had lured him to the door, just as bullets started flying. The gift that would have made him a perfect target, silhouetted against the interior lights. Police cruisers screeched into the driveway. Caleb raised his hands. Riley clutched against his chest. Caleb Monroe, homeowner. We are the victims. Detective Janessa Coyle burst through the back door, weapon drawn. His old army buddy looked ready to eliminate threats. Clear, she shouted. Then, quieter. What happened here, Monroe? Professional hit job. 2 shooters, suppressed magnums, coordinated retreat. Julia materialized in the doorway, tears streaming in perfectly calculated rivulets. Perfect timing. Perfect performance. Oh my God, Caleb Riley, are you hurt? She rushed forward but carefully avoided the glass, like she knew where the safe path was. Ma'am, step back, Coyle commanded. Active crime scene. Where were you when shooting started? I'm their mother. I have every right. You have the right to answer questions, starting with your location during gunfire. Julia's composure cracked. Tyson and I went for ice from his truck. Heard shots and ran back. Convenient, Caleb muttered. What is that supposed to mean? Julia's voice climbed toward hysteria. Means your timing is impeccable. Means you and your friend avoided being shot at. Means I'm wondering if you knew something we didn't. How dare you? Someone tried to eliminate our family. I'm not accusing you of anything. Caleb stood slowly. Yet. At the hospital that night, while doctors extracted glass fragments from Caleb's shoulder with surgical precision, Riley finally broke her silence. The pediatric ward was quiet, except for the steady beep of monitors and the whispered conversations of night shift nurses. Caleb sat beside his daughter's bed, his arm in a sling, watching her small form beneath starched white sheets. Dad, she whispered, her voice barely audible above the hum of hospital machinery. I need to tell you something terrible. What is it, sweetheart? Riley's eyes darted toward the door, checking for eavesdroppers with the paranoia of someone who had learned too young that adults could not always be trusted. Mom showed me the insurance papers last week. She said if something happened to you, we would be rich. Really, really rich. Rich enough to live anywhere we wanted and never worry about money again. Caleb's blood turned to ice water in his veins. What exactly did she show you? A policy. Your name was on it, but the signature looked different from how you usually write. She made me promise not to tell, because it was supposed to be a surprise for your birthday next month. Riley's voice broke like fractured glass. But Dad, you hate surprises. You always say surprises are just poor planning in disguise. The child's innocence made her words even more devastating. She had no idea she was describing conspiracy to commit insurance fraud and premeditated termination. To Riley, it was just another adult secret, another promise extracted from a daughter who trusted her mother implicitly. Did she say anything else about this policy? She said accidents happen to people every day. Car crashes, falls down stairs, random mess. She said bad things happen to good people and families need to be prepared. Riley's tears came harder now, the dam finally breaking after days of carrying this toxic burden. She said Tyson would help take care of us if anything ever happened to you. She said he was strong and smart and would never let anyone hurt us. Caleb pulled his daughter into a careful embrace, mindful of his wounded shoulder. Why did you try to warn me tonight? Because I heard them talking yesterday when they thought I was asleep. Mom said the timing was perfect, and Tyson said everything was arranged. They kept saying numbers. 500,000, double indemnity, accidental death. I didn't understand what it meant, but the way they were whispering scared me. The full scope of the betrayal hit Caleb like a physical blow. His wife hadn't just planned his death. She had groomed their daughter to accept it, to see it as inevitable, even beneficial. Julia had weaponized Riley's trust, turning their child into an unwitting accomplice to patricide. Coyle met Caleb at an all-night diner outside town. Dark circles shadowed her eyes, coffee untouched. Tell me you have something, Caleb said. Sedan was stolen yesterday, found burned near the river. Professional job. She slid a folder across. But your wife made mistakes. Text message screenshots, timestamped, legally obtained from shared family cloud. Julia to unknown number, 11:47 p.m. Clock ticking fast. He still draws breath, not much longer. Unknown to Julia, 6:23 a.m. Insurance confirmed active. Double payment for accidental termination. Clean up tonight or start over with messier methods. Julia, 7:15 p.m. during party. Gift placement complete. Target will investigate within 30 minutes. Shooters in position. She forged your signature on life insurance 6 months ago, Coyle continued. 500,000. Double indemnity for accidental death. Payments from account you knew nothing about. Funded through cash deposits, screaming money laundering. Caleb studied documents. His wife's handwriting mimicking his signature. Sloppy, but effective. More. Tyson Reese owns Precision Auto Body. State records show violations, VIN tampering investigations, firearms trafficking, connections to organized crime. This goes deeper than insurance money. She chose her partner well. She chose a viper swimming in blood. My contact at Missouri Criminal Investigation says they've been building a RICO case against Tyson for months. We can bury both, but need more evidence fast. Why fast? Because Tyson's operation doesn't tolerate failure. Your wife promised results and failed. Now she's a liability to people who eliminate liabilities with extreme prejudice. That afternoon, Julia's attorney filed emergency custody motion painting Caleb as unstable veteran with violent tendencies and paranoid behavior. The document alleged he'd manufactured evidence to cover psychological instability, that Riley was in immediate danger from a father who saw enemies everywhere. Hearing scheduled for Thursday morning, 48 hours away. Caleb spent Tuesday night in his garage with documents and legal pads. Riley brought coffee, sat on his workbench. Are you going to hurt Mom? I am going to protect you. Make sure she never hurts anyone again. There's a difference between justice and revenge, sweetheart. Justice happens in courtrooms with judges and evidence. Revenge happens in dark alleys with no witnesses. She used to be different before Tyson. Laughed at your jokes, made pancakes Sunday mornings. People change. Sometimes they choose to become something ugly and dangerous. Riley nodded solemnly. Tyson scares me. Looks at me like I'm not a person. Just something in his way that might need removing. Caleb's hands clenched into fists. He will never touch you. I promise on my life, my honor. Everything I hold sacred. What if the judge believes Mom's lies? Then we appeal. Fight harder. Gather more evidence. Truth is like water, Riley. Always finds a way through cracks, no matter how carefully someone tries to seal them. Thursday morning arrived gray and bitter. Julia sat with Attorney Brennan wearing conservative dress and fake tears. Every gesture rehearsed for maximum sympathy. Caleb's lawyer, Maria Santos, was former military prosecutor, who understood courtrooms were battlefields where evidence replaced bullets. Your Honor, this emergency motion is desperate manipulation following criminal attack on my client and daughter. Santos produced enlarged text messages, bank records, insurance documents mounted on presentation boards. Mrs. Monroe and accomplice planned this attack with premeditation. They took fraudulent insurance policy, forged signature, attempted collection by staging his termination through coordinated violence. Evidence was overwhelming. Bank records, handwriting analysis, Riley's sealed testimony. Santos read Riley's statement. My mother told me Daddy was worth more to us gone than alive. Said Tyson would make everything better. We would have money to go anywhere. Made me promise not tell Daddy because supposed to be surprise. But also said sometimes bad things happen to good people. Families need preparing for accidents. Julia's mask cracked. Breathing became rapid, hands clenching. When Santos continued reading about $500,000 and double indemnity for accidental death, Julia snapped. That is a lie, she screamed, lunging toward witness stand. She is just a child, does not understand what she heard. Bailiffs restrained her as she fought with surprising strength. He is poisoning her against me, making her say these things. Dismisses. Monroe, control yourself. Judge Morrison slammed his gavel repeatedly. You want truth? Julia shrieked, pointing at Caleb. He is cold, calculating man who sees enemies everywhere. Never forgave me for wanting more than his pathetic warehouse job and boring suburban life. Tyson showed me real love. Passionate, exciting, alive. Everything Caleb could never be. Emergency. Custody denied. Caleb awarded temporary full custody. Julia granted supervised visitation only. No contact order issued. That evening, Julia violated immediately. Riley's phone buzzed. Baby, Mommy loves you. Do not believe Daddy's lies. Come stay with me tonight. Tyson misses you too. Caleb screenshotted, forwarded to Santos and Coyle. Julia guaranteed losing future custody. She really is stupid, Riley said sadly. No, desperate. Desperate people make fatal mistakes. Coyle's contacts installed surveillance at Tyson's auto shop. Wireless mics captured incriminating conversations. Old soldier tougher than expected, Tyson's voice crackled. Julia wants him gone permanent. Says cannot move forward with him breathing, watching every move. What about the kid? Kid stays with Julia. Perfect cover. Grieving widow, hero's daughter. Insurance pays clean, nobody questions, we disappear with our share. If the girl talks? Julia's got that handled. Kid thinks daddy's paranoid nutcase. By time we're done, she'll believe old man snapped. Got himself terminated by random criminals. Caleb listened in Coyle's office, jaw tightening. The casual way they discussed manipulating his daughter made him want bullets in both. They are not finished, he said. No, but now we have conspiracy, attempted homicide, insurance fraud, tools violations. Missouri Criminal Investigation Building, RICO case for life sentences. I want in on takedown. Caleb, they threatened my daughter. Tried to eliminate me in my home. Turned my wife into a weapon against our family. I want in. That night, Caleb broke into Precision Auto Body with ghost silent efficiency. Military training made locks irrelevant. He moved through darkened shop photographing everything. Back office revealed Tyson's operation scope. Forged VIN plates, stolen titles, magnums, AK-47s Arkansas, 15S filed serial numbers. But the wall map made his blood boil, his address circled red. Photos of him and Riley pinned beside detailed timeline showing work schedule. Riley's school routine, Julia's dental hours, months of planning, handwritten note in Julia's script. Insurance pays double if accidental. Make it look like robbery gone wrong. Leave no witnesses who can contradict story. No witnesses underlined twice. They weren't just planning to eliminate him. They intended silencing Riley permanently if she became a problem. Caleb photographed everything, planted micro cameras throughout. If they planned a second attempt, he would be ready. 3 days later, state task force moved. Tyson arrested at dawn. Magnum trading, insurance fraud, conspiracy to commit homicide. Shop seized. Associates rounded up across 3 counties. Julia panicked, tried withdrawing money, but Caleb had frozen accounts during divorce. Credit cards canceled. Flight booking flagged by fraud detection. That evening, she broke into Caleb's garage with the desperate fury of a cornered animal. He was waiting in the shadows, having anticipated this moment with the tactical foresight that had kept him alive through 3 combat tours. The garage was his domain, organized, controlled, filled with tools that could serve multiple purposes in the hands of someone who understood violence as both art and necessity. Hello, Julia. She spun around like a startled predator, clutching a crowbar she had taken from his meticulously organized toolbox. Under the harsh fluorescent lights that threw stark shadows across her face, she looked haggard and desperate, cornered and dangerous. Her carefully maintained appearance had crumbled along with her schemes. Disheveled hair, smeared makeup, clothing wrinkled from hours of pacing and plotting. You destroyed everything, she snarled, raising the crowbar with both hands. We could have been happy. Rich and happy and free from the suffocating little life you built for us. You mean you could have been rich? After you buried me 6 feet underground and collected the insurance money? You were never supposed to be home that night. The plan was perfect, until you decided to play soldier again, crawling around on the floor like some paranoid veteran who sees enemies behind every shadow. Caleb stepped into the light, and Julia saw what he had truly become. Not the quiet warehouse supervisor she had married 15 years ago. Not the gentle father who read bedtime stories and made weekend pancakes. This was the man who had survived Fallujah and Ramadi, who had eliminated threats in dark alleys and bombed out buildings across Middle East. This was a warrior who had learned that sometimes good men must do terrible things to protect innocent people from monsters. You brought war to my door, he said quietly, his voice carrying the lethal calm of a professional soldier preparing to engage hostile forces. Now you will see how I finish one. Cannot prove anything, Julia whispered, but her voice shook with the tremor of someone who knew she was already beaten. Tyson will never testify against me. He loves me. I already have everything I need. Tyson recorded your conversations to protect himself from double cross, insurance fraud, conspiracy to commit elimination, child endangerment. The prosecutor has enough evidence to put you both away until Riley has grandchildren. He gestured to the workbench where printed transcripts lay spread like evidence at a crime scene. Dozens of pages documenting every phone call, every text message, every whispered plan to end his life and steal his daughter's future. Your boyfriend gave you up to save his own miserable hide. Played the recording where you said I was worth more terminated than alive, where you calculated exactly how much money my death would bring, where you discussed the best methods to make it look accidental. Caleb's smile was colder than January. When? How does it feel to be betrayed by someone you trusted, someone you loved? Julia's face twisted with rage and desperation. She raised the crowbar above her head, muscles tensing for a strike that would never land. I hate you. I hate this house, this life, everything you represent. You suffocated me with your boring stability and quiet strength. Tyson made me feel alive again. Caleb was already moving before she completed the downward swing. 20 years of military training exploded into action. He caught her wrist with his left hand, applied precise pressure to the nerve cluster that controlled her grip, and the crowbar clattered to the concrete floor like discarded trash. Riley is inside doing homework, he said calmly, maintaining his grip on her wrist just tight enough to prevent escape, but not tight enough to leave bruises that could be photographed by lawyers. She thinks her mother is still human. I would prefer to keep her innocent of the knowledge that she was spawned by a monster. Cannot keep her from me forever, Julia gasped, trying futilely to break free from his iron grip. Watch me. Trial began 6 weeks later amid media circus. Birthday betrayal case captured national attention with perfect storm of family dysfunction, insurance fraud, attempted assassination. Santos prosecuted with surgical precision. Text messages revealing conspiracy timeline, financial records exposing fraud, magnum evidence demonstrating premeditation, recordings capturing Julia's cold calculations about her husband's monetary value. Defense tried painting Julia as victim of Tyson's manipulation, naive woman seduced by criminal mastermind, but jury saw through performance with clarity of people recognizing genuine evil wearing suburban mother's face. Tyson, facing life without parole, had recorded conversations as insurance against betrayal. State played most damning evidence during closing, Julia's voice echoing through packed courtroom. Caleb worth exactly $500,000 eliminated. Alive, just obstacle to life I deserve. Make it clean, look like robbery gone wrong, split insurance 50-50. Kid won't be problem, I'll make sure she understands daddy's paranoia finally caught up with him. Riley testified via closed circuit, sparing trauma of facing her mother directly. Her testimony was devastating in innocent honesty. Mom said if something happened, Daddy, we would have money to live anywhere. Said Tyson would take care of us, never worry again. Made me promise not tell Daddy, because surprise, but also said bad things happen to good people, smart families, prepare for accidents. When prosecutor asked how she felt, I was scared all the time, didn't want Daddy going away forever. He reads stories, makes pancakes Sunday mornings, helps with homework when I don't understand fractions. Tyson never talked to me like I mattered. Looked at me like something in way that might need moving eventually. Jury deliberated 3 hours, testament to overwhelming evidence and Julia's complete inability to generate sympathy. Guilty all counts. Conspiracy to commit intentional termination, insurance fraud with criminal intent, attempted homicide through coordinated violence, child endangerment through psychological manipulation, violation of court-issued protection order. Julia's sentencing drew packed courtrooms and live television coverage. Judge Morrison read her fate with solemn authority. 25 years state prison without parole for 18 years. You betrayed sacred trust of marriage, endangered your daughter's life and psychological well-being, attempted profiting from orchestrated violence. Actions demonstrate complete absence of human decency and maternal instinct. Court finds no basis for leniency. Bailiffs led her away in shackles and orange prison garb. Julia screamed with fury of someone finally seeing true consequences. Think you won? Destroyed our family. Riley will hate you when she's old enough to understand what you really are. Riley, beside her father, squeezed his hand tighter and whispered, No, I won't. Epilogue. 6 months later, Caleb and Riley lived quietly across town. New house, school, fresh start. Insurance companies sued Julia and Tyson for fraud, seizing assets. Caleb used recovered property for Riley's college fund. He was dating Janessa Coyle now. She understood military trauma, respected his security needs, treated Riley like family. Evening dinners while Riley did homework. Precious, normal moments. Do you ever miss her? Riley asked, driving home from soccer. Caleb considered carefully. I miss who she pretended to be, the woman I thought I married. That person probably never existed. I miss her sometimes. Mom who made pancakes, sang in car. Then remember what she tried to do. Get angry again. Anger is natural, sweetheart. Do not let it poison you. We survived. We are free. That matters. That night, voicemail from State Penitentiary. Think you won, Caleb. Think you are safe. But I have friends, contacts, people owing favors. This is not over. You will regret destroying me. Both will regret it. Caleb deleted without listening completely. In Middle East, learned threats from caged enemies were just noise. Julia could rage from her cell but had no power left. Later, tucking Riley into bed, she whispered, "Dad, I recorded something today." "What?" "Message for Mom. Wanna hear?" Phone audio. "You said we would be happier without him." "We are not. You were wrong about everything. Daddy keeps me safe, keeps promises, never lies or tries hurting people I love. Hope someday you understand what you lost." Caleb kissed her forehead. "Did not have to do that." "Yes, I did." She needed to know. Next morning, Caleb returned to warehouse work. Coworkers treated him with quiet respect, understanding he'd faced real evil and emerged victorious. Still same man, methodical, reliable, protective, but also something more. Father who fought for daughter and won. Man who stared into betrayal's abyss, refused destruction. That evening, helping Riley with algebra, phone buzzed with Coyle's text. Tyson's associates rounded up. RICO charges filed. Whole network finished. Caleb set phone aside, returned to explaining equations. Outside, autumn rain drummed windows, but inside their new home, everything was warm, safe, peaceful. They had won, not just in court, not just against Julia and Tyson, but against darkness trying to consume their family. Riley was safe, Julia caged, future stretching bright with possibility. Sometimes justice wore quiet father's face, refusing evil triumph. Sometimes looked like 13-year-old girl brave enough for truth. Sometimes sounded like homework laughter, Sunday pancakes. Simple promise tomorrow would be better. Julia gambled everything on greed and violence, lost spectacularly. Caleb fought for love and family. Won completely. The war was over.